What I'm going to say is going to upset a good amount of you guys, especially if you don't agree with my opinion. But if you want, we can get a little bit of emotional manipulation out of the way first. So that way I can get some form of, I want to say 50-50 balance, maybe, if nobody wants to completely tell me to go kill myself. I am an orphan. I got adopted from Brazil. My family came over and picked up me and my siblings. They have took a total of 5 kids from Brazil, actually. Amazing parents, beautiful family, everything else like that they have raised. And now I am a business owner, and I have different multitude of ideas that I want to do to go back to my country and help, along with saving up enough money and creating enough businesses to where I can go and open up an orphanage. I am a dual citizen, so I actually can go out and buy land in Brazil. And I want to go back to the orphanage, build up multiple different education places for school. I want to do like a medical wing. I want to do a bunch of things that I want to do in Brazil. So with that perspective in mind, and then I don't want to make this video about me, I want to make it mostly about the perspective of an immigrant, especially when it comes to these LA riots that are happening. I don't see how anyone who is a immigrant could at any shape and form agree with what's happening with the riots in the terms of what the rioters are actually doing. It's not a peaceful protest, it's riots. These are people that are burning cars down and getting people's faces, and there's nothing but anger and hate that's going around to the police officers, the ICE detainees, anything that's happening with the Marines coming on board that are on standby. There's nothing but hate that's happening to these people. These people are trying to protect your country. They're trying to protect your citizenship. They're trying to protect your civility at the end of the day. These are people that are fighting for this country. These are people who are wanting to make this country amazing. At the end of the day, nothing there that's happening is going to be skewed in the way that CNN or MSNBC or any of these influencers like to advocate for, how they're just going to pick you up and take you and ship you out, even if you're a U.S. citizen. These people are illegals. ICE only want to detain illegals. People are only going after illegals. At the end of the day, I don't want to be associated with an illegal immigrant, especially when they're going to be into things that I am not a proponent of. I don't want anybody to traffic kids. I don't want anybody to sell drugs. I don't want anything that's going to happen to this country that me and my family were lucky enough to get adopted into. We don't want this country to go to shit, because at the end of the day, like, this country is the best country in the world that you could do anything and everything if you want to. We have such a beautiful country that if people are burning the flag, this flag, the American flag, you don't get arrested for it. You don't get detained. You don't go missing. Somehow, I think people in this country don't understand the level of freedom that is. I don't understand how people don't understand. It's fascinating to me. I wish there was a book that could go over the political spectrum and how Americans are so disingenuous for their own country, as some Americans, that they don't realize the freedom and luxury that they have. Granted, there is a subset of people that love doing this. It's mostly people who have not struggled in their life and they want to pick a struggle. So they usually get on whatever bandwagon is at the time. It usually happens in anywhere from 2 to 4 year increments. So anytime when the midterms around or whenever there's the actual elections going around, there's usually some type of form of bandwagoning that people like to jump on. And it's people who don't struggle. I've realized this, that at the end of the day, they have nothing to do, so they're on social media nonstop. Granted, I'm on social media a lot too. I just like to not bitch and whine about it because I have struggled and I continue to struggle. But at the end of the day, it's these people who want to pick a struggle, pick whatever bandwagon at the time, right? LA is going to see many more riots. They have been having more riots than in the past, but we don't have to go into that. There's you got LA, you got Chicago, you got New York, Texas. There's a lot of different things that you can pick from whenever it comes to immigration, especially how New York is going downhill as well. But back to my perspective as a legal immigrant. If you want to come to this country, that's great. That's amazing. I need people to start understanding that there is a process in order to get that correct, right? You need to actually go in line with the process of becoming a legal immigrant. At the end of the day, becoming a legal citizen is important, especially if you want to stay here. If you want to stay here, you need to figure out some way of citizenship. You can't just go into another country and be that person and buy land, go to the jobs, avoid tax procedures and everything else like that comes when having an income, especially to a country that's not the US. They will kick you out. They're just not going to let you in. Somehow this country has fallen to the collapse of the left. Now, I used to be a Democrat. I personally believe that if you are wanting to be whoever you want to be, great. If you want to do whatever you want to do, great. I don't, as long as it doesn't harm anybody, I could care less. You want to chop off your dick and put on slap a pussy on there, an impossible pussy. If you want to do something where you slap a dick on there and then you want to be whoever you want to be, that's great. That's completely fine. Do whatever you want to do. Don't advocate it to kids. Don't try to get them to transition at a young age. Don't go into bathrooms where it's going to make people uncomfortable. As if it makes another person uncomfortable, if another person does not feel safe, stop that shit. Same thing with the legal immigration. If you want to do whatever you want to do to become a citizen and better this country, that's great. I have no quarrels with you as long as it's done legally. At the end of the day, it needs to be done legally. I don't know how people are having these riots and saying, oh, this country's so dictatorship. Oh, we've got fascism. You tend to dilute, and especially the left, tend to dilute the words if you continue talking about sexual harassment, if you continue talking about fascism, if you continue talking about dictatorships. You get it to a point where, what's the new term that everyone likes using? I own a barbershop. It's a barbershop name. So I tend to pick up a lot of these terms if I'm not on social media, because people in barbershops tend to talk how actual humans talk. Social media, you're not going to get a real life interaction. If you're working in corporate, good luck trying to say anything that's not going to be dictated by HR. Barbershops are cool because people come in and they actually get to, drop their shoulders down and actually talk like real humans, especially men. At the end of the day, when it comes to people and how they need to do stuff, there are legal procedures that you need to do. Somehow the left has skewed this to a point of just nonstop emotional manipulation to where it's going to continue putting up extremes. And you're going to continue blockading people from joining your party. It's gotten so much to where Blue Sky now is shutting down because there's only a subset of people that's not the majority. You create such a minority of people continuously thinking the way they think, and you get a lot of idiots on top of that on social media jumping into this, and you guys think that you're majority. Most people, especially in the barbershop, do not like illegal stuff happening. They don't like drugs. They don't like kidnapping kids. They don't like people coming in here and not paying taxes. At the end of the day, it's not just the people here that also come into this country illegally, right? I hold just as much accountability for those people as I do myself being a business owner for the upper management people. I don't like that people can, CEOs, managers, anybody that's doing the hiring, HR, right? If you know that they're illegal, you need to be reprimanded as well. At the end of the day, something needs to happen to their business. Something needs to happen to their money. Something needs to happen to their reputation. Like, hey, you knew this process. You knew that you hired this person that was illegal. You're benefiting from them through their pay because you can pay less. You can not have to pay taxes, especially when it comes to W-2s, 1099s. You can get these subcontractors to do whatever they want. And now you can not even pay them after they get the job done. If the left likes fighting so much for people's freedom and all this other stuff, they want to talk about, oh, this country needs to be free. People need to do whatever they want. They need to walk around naked in in Seattle if they want when it comes to these parades. That's great. That's cool. You want to advocate for that. You got to advocate for people to get actual paid, like whatever it is, W-2, 1099. They got to get a check. They can't get a check if a business owner decides, hey, you're illegal, I don't got to pay for you. Start advocating for them. Start advocating for the people that aren't getting money. Start advocating for the people who are getting paid below minimum wage, who are people who are going through nonstop slave labor to a point where they're working hundreds of hours a week just so you could get a cheaper pool boy, a cheaper coffee, a cheaper contract for construction. At the end of the day, there's so many different things that people benefit off of this, the immigrations, especially when they don't have citizenship, because they get abused nonstop. If you're going to be an advocate for all that, all this freedom and everything else like that, you got to understand that this isn't helping illegals at all. You are going to get a good amount of people that are going to get this, the thing that I was talking about when it comes to the barbershop and how people talk, the term, the fatigue. This is white people fatigue or black fatigue or something like that. Whatever this thing is that people want to put black fatigue, Mexican fatigue, whatever fatigue they want to do, you're going to get to a point where you're just going to get these people and they're going to get radicalized even more. And then some real shit is going to happen. If the LA riots aren't going to happen with somebody actually getting shot, there's going to be another riot that's going to break out somewhere else, because you continue advocating for this freedom that everybody wants to talk about, how you can just come to this country, not get deported if you're doing some fuck shit. And then next thing you know, boom, something major happens. But yeah, that is a immigrant's perspective. That's my perspective. You want to come to this country? Great. Come here legally. If you don't, then at the end of the day, you got to get kicked out. I don't know what to tell you. Now, left or right, it doesn't matter. If it's illegal, it's illegal. You chop it up. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't care if it's left. I don't care if it's right. At the end of the day, if something is going to be holding to one party, it needs to be holding to the other. You can't have it both ways. That's my perspective. And at the end of the day, that's a lot of people's perspective. When it comes to the barbershop and how people actually speak, that's the majority of people's perspective. They want something to be done. That's why the president is the president, and that's why he got the majority, because they saw all the fuckery that was going around and they want something to be done. You don't have to like it. You don't gotta agree with it. It is the way it is. That's the country. You either want a shithole country or you don't want a shithole country. I don't want a shithole country. Get everyone who's doing some fuck shit, get them the fuck out. At the end of the day, you want to become a citizen? Great. You want to be a law-abiding citizen? Great. You want to be a productive member of society? Great. At the end of the day, communities are built up on these notions of bettering each other, of that could be a whole different video. Nobody wants to live in a shithole. You continue advocating for people and anyone coming in, it doesn't matter the processes, just bring in everyone. You're going to have a shithole country. You're going to have a shithole community. You're going to have a shithole county. It doesn't matter. It's just going to be a shithole. There needs to be laws and procedures in place. Anything that's happening right now, especially when it comes to the government, anytime when it comes to ICE, anytime when it comes to bringing on the military, it needs to happen, because otherwise communities break apart. And funny enough, nobody was advocating for this freedom and all this other stuff when a bunch of my other people that I know, when it comes to small business owners getting shut down during COVID raids, and the police were used against them. It's always fine when it's against somebody that they don't like. As soon as it becomes about them, it's wrong. But yeah, that's why the left is going to continue losing, unless, you know, something changes. But that'd be for another video if I feel like making it. But yeah, see ya.